The locomobile steam car called a surrey. It's just like the song, surrey with the bridge on top. It's to the steering. It's just as if they've taken the two horses off the front and put a steam engine in, which is pretty well what they did do. Then we've got, as I say, John Carver with Tilly. Tilly's got the engine's called Pensioner, but Tilly's the cat that John's wearing as a shoulder collar. Not a soft toy, a real cat, and she's lovely, and she's totally phased, well unfazed I should say, totally unfazed by being on a steam engine. I don't think she likes it when the whistle goes, but all the clattering and clacking and clanging and hissing that you get with steam engines, she doesn't mind it at all. She's quite at ease, and if you go down to the steam enclosure, and she's there, I'm sure if you ask John first, because if she's not sure, don't creep up on her because she can't go with her and put her claws out. She does love you, she will like it so. But anyway, more to the point, the engine is a Wallace and Stevens. It's a Wallace and Stevens expansion engine, which I'm not going to go into the technical details. It was a particular design which meant that it made better use of the steam in effect, but it was quite complicated engineering-wise, and so the old agricultural people that use these, they're general agricultural engines, they like simplicity, and this has actually two hand throttles, because it was an expansion engine. I won't go into too much technical detail, it's too boring. Built in 1915, and what served most of its working life is a general agricultural engine. Now that doesn't mean it's a tractor in the sense that it ploughs the fields and scatters. No, it was hooked up to either a threshing drum at harvest time, or later on it would be hitched up to the sawmills or the saw bench to do all the winter loss, and more importantly all the fence posts and buildings that they used to, it was all made out of wood obviously, and so it was a very hard working engine. General purpose agricultural. They all had their different uses, which I'll try and explain. In the 1970s, it did attend a few local rallies, in fact, and I think it came to one of these early festivals of transport, but then it needed work on the boiler and firebox, and well, Paul thought it was just a firebox that was leaking, but it wasn't, the boiler as well, so it was taken out of service, and some of the volunteers took it all to bits. But those people they moved on, and it never got finished. It sat in a shed, up in town no doubt, for over 30 years, with all the bits missing. And when the trust took over after Paul had passed away, in 2003, the first one that the volunteers started to rebuild was Pensioner. Obviously the boiler had to go away to a specialist boiler engineer, but nearly all the work on that engine was done by Poor Jessic Trust volunteers, of which John Carver was leading light. So he's going round now with Tilly, and in front of me now another engine which comes from the Poor Jessic collection. It's called Sandinger. It was one of a pair because ploughing engines always worked in pairs. The other one is Windsor, named after the Royal Castles of course. But Sandinger and Windsor were big engines. They were what we call AA7 Sounders. That means they were the biggest of their class. And they had a class of 6 of those that at the end of the First World War were destined to go to Russia, where of course they got huge fields that they could plough out there. And no, of course the Russians then had the revolution, cancelled it, so they went to the east of England, worked for John Patton. They were then called Pat and Fan, probably after his daughters or his wife, I'm not sure, but they lasted quite a long time doing that job, and then they went to Hardwick, who were scrap merchants and dealers, fortunately saved from the cutting torch and bought
not both at once, but bought by James Lowder, the late James Lowder, who used them for dredging lakes on, mainly on the big estates that you get with the gardens designed by the likes of Capability Brown, and all the ponds and waterfalls, all gone to slate because during the war and before the war, all the landed gentry were running out of money, and there we are. So it did all the lake dredging. Very hard working engines, a lot of more work involved in that than plowing. And they lasted right through the early 2000s. They were the longest running longest working ploughing engine in the UK. In fact, probably anywhere. And I won't go to the plough. They don't pull a plough. They work one at one end of the field and one at the other, or one end of the lake and one at the other. And either the plough or the dredge is pulled between them. That's why that winch drum is underneath and mounted horizontally. So if you just picture that they pull the plough backwards and forwards across the field, which sounds laborious, but in actual fact it plows 5 times as much as the tractor can, because it works with a plough with several tines. So when John Power invented the idea, it revolutionised farming. So many going along, it's not going to miss any. Ebenezer going round the corner there at the bottom without the canopy is a road roller built in 1923 by Hellingly and Porter, and was new to the firm of Copeland and Wakefield, who by faith were Jewish, and they called it Ebenezer, which I haven't had a contradiction on that. In Hebrew it's transcribed as a worker in stone, which basically is very appropriate for a steamroller. Ebenezer, as I say, went to work in 1923, and it was the first job it had in London, because Cumberland Wakefield were London tractors, was building the road to Wembley Stadium. Not the one we know now, but the one with the Twin Towers, the original Wembley Stadium. Hello, he's back, that's good. Mr. Gurr's back. Yeah, you've got to go around with the Stanley steamer, and now we've got so many things to talk about. I'll talk about all this eventually. Wallace and Stevens going in front of me now is being driven entirely by the owner's son, James, who's I think 9 years old. And so it's very unsafe, and it's likely to crash straight through the barrier in a minute. No, absolutely not. No, he's extremely confident, and his dad says he's going so slowly. But James has really got it right. He's done it so many times, and we've been together on the road. He's under supervision, don't worry. He's a great lad. He's done quite a bit on the cleaning this morning, but his dad got far more dirty than he did. It's owned by Jeff Bowden, who's come all the way down from Cumbria, and my son joined owners of this, and behind, and he's just sitting on the water cart, because it's used to, the one thing you need with these engines you mustn't run out of is water, because they're basically just big kettles, and you can't run out of water, otherwise you get a kettle burning dry, and that's the end of your kettle. But if it's the end of one of these, it would be a major catastrophe. So always, if they're going between jobs, they always try to carry a bit of extra water. And now here comes Lionheart, and those of you on this side of the arena, as it goes round, will see that it was built by Hellingly and Porter. Again, that name keeps coming up, because as I say, they were the most prolific builders of steamrollers, and it went to the Edison Steamrolling Company of Dorchester. And they, like most things, the county councils at that time, for all this outsourcing you get now, they used to own their own engines. The county councils, the borough councils, all used to own their own engines for their own roads. But for the national system, or for the bigger roads, they did what we do today. They let the jobs out to contractors. And the Edison Steamrolling Company were one of the country's biggest contractors. And as it goes round on this side, you get the road builders now. You see them going along with that big machine they're called a road planer that digs up all the road surface, doesn't it? And then a lorry, it kicks it straight into a lorry, the road planing. Didn't have that in the old days. They had what we call a scurrifier, which is this big block of metal on the back. And there's a chap walking alongside it, like I'm walking alongside now, with his wheel. And there's big, they're not on there now, but the big metal tines, and this lever here, and you let the tines down into the road, and as it went round, it ripped the old road surface up. But then along behind that would come a bunch of navvies with shovels and wheelbarrows, and all the road surface had to go. It was very labour intensive. but at least you can do the both jobs with the same engine. Ebenezer's going round again. Now, another road roller, but this time not an Hellingly importer, comes from the makers of Fowler of Leeds, and this was the other major contractor in the country, certainly in this part of the country, which is Mr. Dingle. R. Dingle and Sons were contractors, as it says on it, of Stoke Climsland in Cornwall. Now, I remember going down there on holiday in the early 60s, and you still had engines working then. This one was the penultimate engine ever outshopped from Fowler's, and it was working in 1960s on the Red Roof bypass. It was built in the 1930s and is owned by Mr. Jonathan Barton, who's had this engine for over 40 years, and it's a credit to him. I've just completed an article which came out last month in Old Glory, the magazine I write for, and it was actually I wrote it in 2020, but it just came out last month, and just giving a bit of the history, and Jonathan just talking to me about how he's enjoyed all the problems he's had, but it's the joy he's had out of owning it over all these years, and he's looked after immaculately and has won awards for that. He really is proud of that engine, and so he should be. And the next engine in front of me, hiya, is Jess, the one with Southern Traction written on the top. That's a Marshall engine. Marshalls were built at Gainsborough, and it's says pausing repair. Getting the years. It's called Jess. It spent most of its working life in Tasmania, which, as you know, is the island, well, off Australia, if you like. And a powerful single-cylinder engine, but it's a general haulage engine, general purpose. Can be used on agricultural stuff, but it's more likely to be used on road haulage.